But in this matchup, you understand who to get the ball to, when and where.
And underway here in Chicago, second home game of the year for the Sky.
It's a tremendous backcourt matchup. Diggins and Cloud for Chicago, and Williams and McBride. And Minnesota starts in a zone.
And that pass wide from Natasha Cloud, trying to get that ball movement.
Element of surprise by Cheryl Reeve starting in a zone. How about that? Don't see that very often in the W.
Minnesota. Coffee stunned as she picks up her first.
It's a really good job of rotating by Coffee, being ready at the rim.
Coffee, who played at Northwestern, picks up her first foul. Rookie at the line. Hit every highlight with CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free 24/7. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today. Naka has had that brilliant performance, career high 20 points.
Reeve likes to play with at Minnesota.
No doubt, just dazzling numbers, 15 points, over 5 assists per game. Rumbling into the lane, Cardoso can't finish. Williams semi-transition, likes the mid-range. Crowd wanted to travel.
Howard will have to use her quickness to go around Cardoso and make over the top. Like that move right there.
And does just that. 1 of 4 for the Lynx that average 15 or more. Diggins along the baseline, and Miles intercepts. Excellent bounce feed ahead, Howard.
Tremendous job of using her length on the glass.
How do you like the fit of Howard with Olivia Miles running the pick and roll together?
Well, I think when you play with Caitlin Clark, you learn to play with pace. And I think Natasha Howard already had that understanding in her game. So moving here is a natural fit with the pace that Olivia Miles likes to push. And the veteran play of Williams and McBride. It's a very comfortable situation for Howard under Cheryl Reeve.
3-time champion, including in her first stint with the Lynx, 2017. That one.
To the paint, you can set up Cardoso in some space as well.
There is Cardoso in the paint, bobbles the ball out of bounds. So slippery fingers on that noon start in Chicago.
I mean, that below the level of the screen, Courtney Williams fighting over the top, and then a roll down the lane line. A quick move by flipping her hips. Cardoso gets to the rim.
McBride wants 3. Howard crashes for the offensive rebound. Miles dives, Coffee rolls. Oh, she can't finish.
Somebody on the backside. This is a miscommunication right here between Coffee and Miles. And J.C. Sheldon hanging around, ready to make a play.
Has that knack, part of that guard defensive back floor. 3-on-2 the other way, but Coffee pushes off in an offensive foul.
Great hustle.
Great defender, Courtney Williams.
Getting back in transition, Chris. That's the most important thing right here. Look at Natasha Cloud, former all-defensive player in this league. Does a nice job of establishing herself and drawing that charge in transition. That's where the speed of the game has to be for Chicago, right? They've got 4 guards. They've got to minimize their lack of size, even with 6'7", size on the perimeter.
And free throws coming up for Diggins. Natasha Howard too aggressive on the closeout, and a great sign for Sky fans. Azurá Stevens set to check in for the first time this season. Suffered a left knee injury in training camp and was questionable coming into this one.
Well, we spoke to Tyler Marsh before the game, and he said if she plays and if she can go, and he thought she could, that it would be a minute restriction for her. But at 6'6", Azurá Stevens is a stretch 4 who can really shoot it. And we watched her work out in warm-ups before the game.
See if she's moving well on the inside. Interior finish as Howard tips it in. High pass to the rolling Stevens. That's knocked away. King from the weak side.
King's made 3 plays on defense for Minnesota since her insertion into the lineup.
And McBride pays it off. The feed from Williams. After falling behind 6-0, Minnesota has their largest advantage. Sheldon off the screen and a whistle. Foul before the shot.
Nice job taking advantage of her size on the backside of that defense. And then Miles, 2 layups for Olivia Miles.
From what you see, what has allowed her to translate so well so quickly?
Conceptually, she has played in systems that have allowed her to have the ball in her hands and read the second level.
Bantam, no.
And when you have a good handle and you have size on the top of the floor, it's hard to double team, and the primary defender doesn't bother you. You can see the floor, and she sees the floor so well.
Somebody who you just can't look away when they have the basketball. Jaquez off the steal. Number 5 pick. 79 Chicago when these teams met on Sunday. That's defensive 3 seconds. New CBS tomorrow, a thrilling season finale of Tracker. And every case has led to this. Don't miss a moment of the action in the Tracker season finale tomorrow on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And McBride connects on the technical foul from the defensive 3 seconds. You have so many players in this game, you have to have their eyes on and be in the right help position.
Now, if you're a young player and you want to learn how to shoot the back.
You have so many players in this game, you have to have their eyes on and be in the right help position.
Now, if you're a young player and you want to learn how to shoot the basketball, you study Kayla McBride. There's not many that can get their feet down, quickly flip their hips around, and have perfect textbook form like McBride. It's beautiful.
It's a wonderful shot. Number 6 on the all-time 3-point list. Bantam, who hit a 3 last possession. Front iron it off. McBride chases. Miles. Eyes everywhere. Behind the back, over the shoulder, feeds, all in her bag. Power carves inside and banks it in.
She has perfected that move in the paint, at the rim, over the left shoulder.
7 of the 8 field goals for the Lynx have come in the paint. Back pass just to beat low. King baseline drive and a whistle. She traveled.
Leah King, not known as a 3-point shooter. You look at, this is the move I'm talking about. It's good footwork, it's over the left shoulder. It's her go-to move. She doesn't need to counter.
Game and be a great roller. It's a great weapon to have offensively as a big. 8 of the 20. For the player in her second stint with the team. Featuring Williams. Wrestled away inside, and King, and Debbie, you've highlighted her defensive presence, and she's checked in off the bench for Coach Reeve.
Well, once Nia Coffey picked up that second foul, Leah King has been a force around the rim, in the paint, protecting at the rim.
Cardoso back in. 2-player game with Cloud. Williams spins in the paint. Off the back of the rim, but a whistle. So Elizabeth Williams getting a lot of touches in the half-court sets for Chicago.
You've got to be prepared for this little hitch in her free throw, so you don't lean in the lane. That hitch, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep. These teams have played. Low pass through King's legs and a backcourt violation.
Cheryl Reeve's team doing an excellent job establishing, as you mentioned before, points in the paint, getting the ball inside against a smaller Chicago lineup. When they start with 4 guards, they have gone to their bigger lineup with Elizabeth Williams on the floor at the 4 spot.
8 turnovers for the Lynx have been a problem on their offensive side. Great roll by Cardoso, off balance, layup is through. And put her on the problem on their offensive side. Great roll by Cardoso, off balance, layup is through. And put her on the free throw line for one more.
It's just a well-executed play. Now watch, middle third, she turns, catches, doesn't put it on the floor because Elizabeth Williams is posting up hard on the other side of the floor. Takes that help away at the rim. Really well done.
And Cardoso, a strong start to the season. 3 double-doubles in the first 5 games. Connects on the free throw. Tie it up at 20.
No, we're going to have a game. I mean, it's going to go back and forth. There's too much talent on this floor for a lot of separation.
Williams tried to get separation for her mid-range. Set a hand check foul. That freedom of movement, big emphasis this offseason. Call on Sydney Taylor.
Chris, I love the freedom of movement emphasis and the calls, and I think the officials have in calling those plays off the ball.
Talking with Skylar Diggins practice yesterday, it was one of the things that she highlighted. The game has been called much closer in the early season. Interested to see how long it's called that tight as Williams gets on the scoreboard. Now every starter in this game has found the scoring column here in this first. Williams off the big screen, set by Hoff, and gets the bucket.
And Mesa Hoff. Courtney Williams was calling for that middle ball screen from Hoff all the way up the floor. She knew exactly what she was trying to get out of that action.
Mesa Hoff, player on the development contract, play in 12 games on the developmental contract. And with the injuries for both these teams, they had to utilize those roster spots quite heavily so far this year. Cloud fade away with 3 seconds. A battle for the rebound and a whistle underneath. It'll be on the Lynx. They get Hoff for her first.
That's where 6'7" is 6'7", and that is tough. Look, 2 white jerseys in front, and she's just longer and taller and reaches over the top and avoids the contact.
That's the 6'7" that I'm familiar with, not with these kids these days with their hands in the 6'7". That big 6'7" Cardoso establishing presence down low. And hits the free throws. Just a couple of ticks. Williams launches from half. Does draw iron, and that does it for the first. And Debbie, you highlighted it at the top. This one would be close and back at 14. Started the second, Wintrust Arena. Chris Lewis, Debbie Antonelli, AJ Ross. Second meeting in less than a week. Minnesota trying to get revenge from their loss last Sunday. Here's Williams, cash. She is automatic from that spot.
She's the best mid-range. She scores the highest percentage of her points in the mid-range, more than anybody in the league.
Has the handle to gray for her own, and then the elevation to get it up. Sydney Taylor wants 3. And a great box out by Williams. One of the best rebounding guards as well.
When you have guards that rebound, it gets you quickly into your transition game. That's going to be a foul on Hoff.
Second on Hoff. Taylor rotated over.
I think Cardoso is going to get a heavy dose of touches right here with this lineup, with a little bit of foul trouble on the inside now for Minnesota. See if they go after trying to put Cardoso in a situation to score.
Cardoso does get her space on the block. Double comes, nearly wrestled away. Instead, a jump ball.
Yeah, single side, when she catches it that deep, if she doesn't quickly finish her move, the double is coming. She handles it for the most part. But that was a really good job of bringing the double and mixing up when you bring it by Minnesota.
I mean, I love this height mismatch, right? You got 6'7", because Maya Caldwell 5'11". Maybe we have a favorite here. Just a violation.
It's not a bad move. Just take the violation so you can set your D.
When you don't have a chance, you don't want an unsettled defense.
Analytics, man. You know, every possession, it's analytics.
True, now you can set your defense in the way you want, have your markers in the way you want. Cloud off a screen. Cloud whips to the wing. Conquest 3. Too strong. Contested board, and it's chasing the corner. Williams pull up, no, and Cardoso vacuums it in. Quick tempo, Bano, and a whistle. Hoff was underneath, wrestling with Cardoso. She picks up her third. Tomorrow, 1 Eastern, we're on the pitch for an end of
Tech we have, Chris. Hoff and Cardoso, they do not count as personal fouls.
And right here, this is the conversation after the fact. You just love the competitive spirit of those two.
Well, I like that the officials are cleaning it up quickly. Right, we got a long game to play here.
The conversation after the fact. You just love the competitive spirit of those two.
Well, I like that the officials are cleaning it up quickly. Right, we got a long game to play here.
Yeah, double technicals, Hoff and Cardoso. Minnesota by 4. Haka step through.
Good D by Caldwell. Or excuse me, Coffey.
Williams, run iron it off, chases her own board. Howard, who's back in. Matching up with the opposite center, Cardoso, and a foul.
That is the quickness of Natasha Howard. Her go-to is the left. That's the counter, and it draws a foul, so she gets an and one opportunity at the free throw line.
And Cardoso foul, her first. Howard, first player in this game in double figures. Multi-time All-Star Natasha Howard completes the three-point play. The largest lead of the first half for Minnesota. Diggins back. She did not play in these teams' first meeting, had that eye injury that caused her to miss a game. Will stay on this end.
It's a single-side attack by Chicago right now. I think if they reverse the ball, get to the second side, try to get the defense rotating. Cheryl Reeves' defense always built on protecting inside out.
Active hands on the inbound. They said that was off the body of Stevens. So Williams' hand gets in there, and it deflects off of Stevens. Azure Stevens disagrees. Nine of the game's last 11 have been scored by Minnesota. Howard dishes wing, Coffey for 3. Loose ball foul. Will stay on this end, called on the sky.
I like the way Cheryl Reeve is trying to put Camila Cardoso in some ball screen action, especially in the middle third. The last couple of plays, Cardoso's had 2 feet out of the paint. And Tyler Marsh wants Cardoso up to the level of the screen, but the screen's being set so far out, that's a long ways for 6'7" to be away from the rim.
And they're big that high on the floor. Usually not comfortable there. That's the screen, though, right at the level that you just talked about. Howard fade away from the baseline. Are you serious? What a shot from Howard. There's Cardoso setting the screen. Again, that freedom of movement, have to allow the defender a chance to avoid the contact.
He's just ready to score over the top right there. Turn and score. Such a good read by Howard. She's made really good choices with the ball in her hands so far.
Second quarter has been a struggle on this end for the Sky. Big Cloud and the drought. No. Antonia Delaire in for Minnesota. Coffey in front of the Lynx bench. Howard was the one who got her hand on the rebound. Minnesota, second chance.
Got a mismatch. Good recognition.
When's the double coming? Coffey with one on the shot clock. Wide right and out of bounds. Chicago scrambled defensively out of that mismatched position.
I mean, Minnesota definitely had a numbers advantage on the other side of the floor. You're right, it was good recovery by Chicago. Get a stop.
The team that last year just went 10 and 34. So, nearly brand new roster. Plenty of new players coming in for this season. Cardoso, returner on the inside. The bump and the foul.
3 fouls now on Coffey.
Picked up 2 quick ones in her first stint in the first quarter. So she has 3, and a couple of players at the scorer's table ready to check in as Cardoso cashes a 62% free throw shooter. First time Chicago has scored in this quarter. You can see the foul trouble, and that's one of the things that Howard mentioned to AJ in between quarters. We have to stop fouling.
Well, this is where Azurá Stevens could have an impact on the game, because at some point Minnesota may have to play small, and they're playing smaller right now with Howard at the 5.
This is a big Chicago lineup with Stevens and Cardoso both in. Corner triple is perfect. Antonio Dallaire. First double-digit lead of the game for the Lynx. Diggins dishes. Ball movement along the perimeter, settles to the wing for 3. So that one goes by J.C. Sheldon.
Got to the second side, right? And you move the ball, you get a wide open shot.
Williams has been hot from 3 the last couple, and Diggins boards. Stevens, her pass deflected. Cardoso crashes to the deck, but Williams picks it up.
Well, you got to love it when 6'7" hits the deck like that for a loose basketball.
First to the floor. Dallaire, no. Logging to Miles. This is Diggins. And she'll head to the line.
So that J.C. Sheldon sprint through the lane drags defense with her and opens up an opportunity for Diggins. And the drift on the baseline. What a game. Minnesota up by a couple of possessions.
Game over. Skylar was encouraging everybody, 3 stops right back to back. That's what we need right now. Courtney was giving some coaching tips, and when we spoke with Coach Marsh about this, he was saying he's very fortunate. Most coaches don't have maybe just one extension of their voice on the floor. He has 3: Natasha Cloud, Courtney Vandersloot, and Skylar Diggins, guys.
Yeah, Diggins and Cloud at practice just being active yesterday. No matter the drill or no matter the set that they were running, you could just hear those 2 directing nonstop.
Well, part of the reason why this is just a 2-possession game while Chicago's shooting less than 31% from the floor is they've been able to get to the free throw line. And Minnesota is plus 10 on the glass right now. So there's a couple things that Chicago could do to fix that. They got to get on the O boards, they got to keep getting to the line, and they got to move the basketball to the second side.
They've already sliced 5 points off the largest deficit. Miles, dynamic rookie, front of the rim. But again, offensive glass, the Lynx all over there. And Courtney Williams from the mid-range.
I mean, you force a contested tough 2, you got to board it.
Finish the possession defensively. Got Diggins and Miles defending each other. Azurá Stevens in our first game action of the 2026 season, no on a 3. It feels like for the Lynx, whoever grabs the rebound has the freedom to bring it across, tic-tac-toe across the lane. Touch pass from Miles. Howard finishes it off, and we'll have a chance at one more.
When you run hard to the rim, you open up the top of the floor. And Courtney Williams had options, and then Olivia Miles delivers this dime. I think Cheryl Reeve really likes playing with 2 point guards. And with 2 point guards, you got 2 really good decision makers on the floor. You got 2 players that can handle and score. And you always got McBride working off all kinds of screening action.
Yeah, good luck. Choose your adventure on offense. Plenty of options. A monster first half for Howard. 16.7 rebounds. 7 of 8 from the floor. Crossover. Oohs and ahs. Skylar. Sensational.
4 is spread, middle third offense. Ball screens in the middle third are so tough to defend.
Pick ball.
I mean, if you like guard play, you got to love what we're seeing so far. What a move by Skylar Diggins.
Well,
little in out, little crossover.
Playground here in Chi-Town. In and out. Rebound underneath Williams. Running the floor, Jaquez slipped out of her left hand on the way up. A chance to slice in and get a little bit closer, goes awry. Williams chases her own miss. That's the second time in this.
She is curious about learning.
Dive into that in a second. Coming up on the Deloitte halftime report, Jenny Dell, Lisa Leslie, Renee Montgomery. And break down this first half. A preview of tonight's primetime game. Can't wait. You have Los Angeles and Las Vegas. That's coming up. The Deloitte halftime report. So Miles connects on free throws. And you mentioned her being curious. She's been like a sponge, whether it's Cheryl Reeve, head coach, or Lindsay Whalen that we just mentioned. And she has the opportunity to learn for some greats.
Well, we talked to Olivia before the game why she's so curious. She said, I want to be the best I can be. She's got incredible options. The space has changed around the floor for her. It's been as simple, or not simple, it's been a very easy adjustment for her because of the way she's played in the past.
I know, Debbie. She at least makes it look easy a lot of the time. Teardrop, no. Contested board, and it will go the other way with Howard getting tied up.
Just to finish that point about Cheryl Reeve and her relationship with Olivia Miles, she said curious. That's the quality she admires the most about her right now. And when you start talking about players that she's coached that are curious, like Maya Moore and Nafisa Collier, Monica Wright, she mentioned some great ones there when she was putting Olivia in that sentence.
Putting her in some great company. Yeah. Excellent listener and curious. That's a great combination. Speaking of young players who have a high ceiling that they can reach, Gabriela Jaquez, who not only makes plays that, you know, show up in the box score, including the 20 points that she had against Minnesota in the first meeting, but she does a lot that doesn't show up in the box score.
And she's going to be a player that you're going to watch her evolve, and her plus minus is going to be the number that you're going to watch, because she's going to impact winning in a non-stat way, things that we don't just track.
Which coaches love. A to B contact, that's enough for the foul, so count the hoop. As Cardoso closed in on the space, and Williams no worse for the wear.
There's a lot of reasons why you play out of the corner. And when you play out of the corner, you have corner threes, but you also have the ability to drive baseline and hit that cutter on the 45-degree angle. And that's the angle that Courtney Williams takes to make herself available into Kayla McBride's vision.
And Williams pays it off. Yeah, whether it's just a high pick and roll or elsewhere off-ball movement, early in the season, the Lynx have a variety of ways to score. Back to a double-digit lead. Leaner from Diggins draws the contact. And she will head to the free throw line. Both teams over the limit.
And one of the things I think we'll see Chicago adjust to is I think their pickup point and their pressure up the floor needs to be a little bit better. They need to use their guard speed, that small lineup, to try to create some havoc.
That was a third foul on Williams. WNBA League Pass gives you a courtside seat every week. Stream live games from across the league all season long. Scan the QR code to subscribe now for $39.99 per year. And press play on the double. Diggins splits. She scored 7 of the team's last 9. Still a double-digit lead for Minnesota. Miles and Cloud, that's fun. Rookie and a vet.
And here, look at the ball pressure picking up here in 2 minutes, right? This is what I was calling for.
Howard cashes.
She is just putting in work on Cardoso.
It's a 20-point half for Natasha Howard. Came in averaging 15 per game. Bantam can't get it. It has been the Natasha Howard show. Sets the screen for Miles. No look pass on the baseline cut. That time taken away.
Maybe over penetration into the help of Cardoso.
Diggins hunts. Can't get it.
Now the last 2 possessions, Chicago has launched threes on a single pass.
2 to the ball against McBride. In the open space is Howard.
No answer. Natasha Howard.
Unstoppable with 22. She's only missed 2 shots. And there's a turnover.
They got a 2-for-1 here.
And a 3-on-2. Diggins, that's a vet move to just get in the way. Made the layup a little bit more difficult for Dallaire. Chicago could have worked quickly for the 2-for-1. Cardoso rumbles across the lane. Rotation of the defense and a blocking foul will send Cardoso to the free throw line. Yeah, it's just Howard finding the open area.
Space, footwork, preparation, confidence.
Check, check, check. Let's play for 5 teams. 3-time champ is having a dazzling half. Cardoso at the line. What's in the first? Free throws 4 and 5 coming up for the Chicago center. 2024 national champion at South Carolina, Camila Cardoso.
I mean, Howard only had 26 points for the season coming into the game.
Yeah.
He's got 22 and a half.
Yeah, she's 1 of 4 for the Lynx, a balanced team scoring so far this season, 15 or more. That's unbelievable balance. Miles step back free throw line. Whistle on the rebound and another loose ball foul. Both these teams have been over the limit for a while here. So the free throws piling up late in the first half. They get Skylar Diggins. Maya Caldwell. Caldwell had a season-high 16 points off the bench in Thursday's win for the Lynx against Toronto.
I think Minnesota was trying to get a defensive substitution in. I'd go to Cardoso right here in this possession.
Cloud instead like a blur. Set the shooter. Sheldon off the front of the rim. There is a couple of seconds. Pass ahead. Caldwell there, but can't get it up in time. That was an incredible scoop thing. The Sky by herself.
If you're going to keep this small lineup, which is the way Chicago's playing due to some of their injuries, they got to speed the game up. They got to bring better ball pressure, and they've got to force Minnesota out of their comfort zone.
Second game without Rakia Jackson for Chicago. She injured her knee, that torn ACL in these teams' first meeting. Williams connects on another mid-range jumper. And of course, no Courtney Vandersloot. Eugene Carrington also out. Hoping to get those players back at some point. So some adversity for Coach Marsh and the Sky early in the year, despite coming in 3-2. Sheldon, rainbow triple, won't fall. In great position for Coffee.
At least they got to the second side and they had a good look. But what Minnesota's done a really good job of, Chris, is they are pushing Cardoso up the floor. And when you push her up the floor, you don't have to bring a double. You can stay home on your matchup. That is a really good defensive job so far by Minnesota.
See how Chicago holds up defensively. A lot of dribbling for McBride. Gets to her spot. Back of the rim, no. Jaquez eyes wide, defended by a fellow rookie in Miles. Cardoso, that time more dangerous, right near the rim. That rockets off the backboard. Diggins gets the loose change. No look opposite. Cloud thought about it. Howard on her. Cloud using her quickness, but Howard too much inside. To the rim, Miles trying to take it all the way to the cup. Had a 6-point first half, also 4 rebounds and 4 assists. She's on triple-double watch. Make that 5 boards, picks up that loose ball. Looking for a 5th assist. Can she get it with Coffee? And Cloud chases. 2 minutes gone, third quarter. Minnesota double-digit lead.
Run some naked side ball screen action with Cardoso. That's the best option for her to be effective.
Screen gives open space for Sheldon, but the ball won't fall. Yo-yo for Miles. Team shooting 45%. Look at that space floor.
Yeah, she picked up her dribble, but look, she boomerangs it right back, does Courtney Williams.
Like that mismatch on Cardoso. Arm got tangled up there, even though the Sky bench can't believe the call.
See,
Third on Cardoso, Debbie.
The boomerang passes, Miles had the mismatch. She gave up her dribble. When she passed it to Courtney Williams, Williams gave it right back to her so she could take advantage of this.
You want your quick point guard in space against the other team's center. Drawing her third foul. This is McBride off ball movement, setting up Howard. Misses a lay on maybe her easiest look of the afternoon. Just her third miss. Ball rolls out of bounds. That's a Sky turnover, although Diggins wants them to review it. Look to that second row of the bench. Coach Marsh will take another look. And it was a strip from Miles that hit the body of Skylar. That might have. Pass to the corner, out of bounds, stays here. Starting to grow now on every whistle on the Chicago side.
You got to turn that emotion into something on the defensive end that leads to your transition game. I think it's a good timeout right here by Chicago so they can stay collected.
Where players go when certain players have the ball.
Well, right now, Sonia Citron is #1 in the league in the gravity metric.
Late shot clock, Coffee didn't draw iron. Shot clock violation.
I'm big on seeing the game through a lens of making it easier for your teammates. And when you can get past your primary, you can draw help, you can set somebody up for an easy 2 or set them up for a 3. You're making the game easier. This gravity metric's going to be a lot of fun to track all season.
I hear coaches say, like, the whole point of a lot of offense, as Diggins floats it in, is finding a way to generate 2 to the ball, whether it's in a pick and roll action or you have a post player that generates double teams, that gravity. That makes it easy for everybody else on the court. So here's that pick and roll. Miles beats Howard, races to the rim. She's too quick.
Well, she has taken advantage of that matchup. Most of her points have come in that.
24 points and 10 rebounds for Natasha Howard. They scored in double figures and now 5 straight games. 3 ball from the corner. Jaquez rings the bell from downtown.
That is making the extra pass. We call that swing, swing for the open 3. Paint, it goes swing, swing. And Cloud puts it in Jaquez's shooting pocket. It's really well done. That's what they need a little bit more of. That's
that Debbie Antonelli gravity. When you're in a meeting, everybody wants to come close, hear what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm leaning on you a lot today. I'm all in your space.
Don't forget who's the one here who is the veteran of this crew. Debbie Antonelli, Chris Lewis, AJ Ross. Here in Chicago.
Well, AJ knows I'm known for throwing a few bows over here in the booth.
All right, I'll make sure to protect myself at all times. See if Chicago can find an offensive rhythm. Their field goal percentage below 30 in this game. Jaquez just hit a 3 the last possession, nearly 2 straight. Williams vacuums. Howard ahead of the pack. Whoa, what a one-handed touch pass, although it was just out of the stride of Coffee. But there isn't an angle that Miles can. See if Chicago can find an offensive rhythm. Their field goal percentage below 30 in this game. Jaquez just hit a 3 the last possession, nearly 2 straight. Williams vacuums. Howard ahead of the pack. Whoa, what a one-handed touch pass, although it was just out of the stride of Coffee. But there isn't an angle that Miles can't find.
Miles with her, I guess she might not get credited with that turnover, but when coaches go back and look at it, that'll be one decision that they'll want her to take back. She's made a lot of good ones today.
It's a foul on Kayla McBride there on the swipe-through move.
Chicago doesn't have to get it all back at once right here, Chris. I mean, they just got to chip away. Those kills that AJ reported on, in the first half. 3 stops in a row, 3 scores, you're right there.
Now going back to Miles for a second, you mentioned the turnovers, and one of the, I guess, negative stats so far for the Lynx is there 12 turnovers in this game. Diggins on the interior. Williams, second chance, that one falls. But going to Miles, is that one of the things for a rookie you almost want them to test their limits? Almost like, in a way, a quarterback throwing interceptions early in their career might not be the worst thing because it shows you their limits?
I think, you know, Cheryl Reed knows that she's going to make more better decisions than poor ones. But the ones that are poor, you watch on film and you learn from. And Olivia Miles plays with a high IQ. I mean, she sees the floor and she reads the D. And she's been doing that for a long time. That's why her skill set transferred so quickly to the WNBA.
Offensive foul on Howard is her 3rd.
And it helps that you have veterans like McBride and Williams on the floor that change the space on the top of the floor for a Miles to be able to do her thing.
Really a great setting for a player to come in. Again, Lynx playing the beginning of this year without Nafisa Collier. Ball in the hands of the rookie quite a bit with great talent around her. Miles scoops up that rebound. She's on the run. Her team up 13. Generates the traffic on the inside, which sets up the shooter in Williams.
I think Elizabeth Williams is maybe a little bit better matchup to slow down Natasha Howard here in the second half.
Former Defensive Player of the Year. There's Skylar Diggins. Flipping in and hitting the jump shot. Diggins 4 for 10 from the floor. She has 13 points.
See, Williams can get up and pressure, you know, and that's okay. You know what? I don't think you mind that foul if you're Chicago. You want that press up defensively. Elizabeth Williams is just able to move her feet and matches up maybe a little bit better here in the second half if you're trying to make a comeback. You almost can go offense-defense at any point with Cardoso and put her in for offensive possessions. And she's a great shot blocker, and I'm saying that, but it's just because of the matchup today.
It's sometimes all about matchups. You get somebody who's been all defensive team a couple of times. Great cut back door, count it in a foul. As Nia Coffey, after battling foul trouble in that first half, has found a rhythm.
Really good cut. Nice feed by McBride.
And Hawk has his first foul.
We were talking to Kayla McBride before the game, and I love diagnosing hoops with McBride, breaking it down. She's just such a high-level thinker. She was dealing with a punctured and ruptured eardrum in the offseason. I'm glad she's back and healthy.
Yeah, from a flight back from Turkey where she was playing. A proud Charlotte resident, Kayla McBride. Corner 3, Stevens. Sky want to get that stretchability back in the lineup.
Another good piece of execution. Short roll to the deep corner. You got to make shots.
High and over the head and out of bounds. So a wayward pass is another Minnesota turnover. CBS Monday, tonight of electric performances, and every winner decided by you, the fans. The American Music Awards, live CBS Monday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Anytime we can work Queen Latifah into this show, oh yeah.
She loves hoops.
Stevens, a couple of inches of a height advantage, defended by Coffey. Dances around the rim and out. It's just been a theme of Chicago. Irons unkind. Low pass Williams, Howard handles. Another excellent cut. The Lynx just carving up Chicago's defense. Coffey lays it in.
So active on the weak side. It's a chance to rest.
That 3 much needed. Takes 3 off what was the largest lead of the game for Minnesota, Rachel Banham.
Banham is a tremendous catch and shoot with range.
86 triples last year, and Williams gets her hand on it. One-handed retrieval of the pass in transition, but knocked away. And out of bounds will stay with the Sky.
That's the defensive effort that I'm talking about out of Williams in that matchup with Howard.
Let's see that contact on the hand, and Williams wanted a foul, did not get it. Couple of Banham threes, and This guy could be in striking distance. This is Taylor, though, with a leaner. Excellent defense. McBride contesting without fouling. Another chance for the Sky. Shot clock at 5. Knifing Taylor inside the hop step. And a scoop that goes. You can tell this Wintrust Arena crowd trying to get something to get engaged about back-to-back baskets to stay connected. Caldwell from the corner. Coffee with an O-board. What an active step for Coffee, but it's set away by Stevens.
They could get this thing to single digits.
Welcome back, Azare Stevens. Stevens trying to pay it off. Inside the line, count it. Back within single digits and a timeout, Minnesota. Seven-0 run for Chicago. Azare Stevens with a rejection on the defensive end and then finds her spots. Back in the lineup, and Chicago back in the game. Who was second in the WNBA last year in the most improved player voting. Her second stint here with Chicago, and her stretchability is a big weapon.
Proud graduate of Cary High School in Cary, North Carolina.
Hey, gotta bring
My
that
high
up.
school. I always say if I had any records, they're way gone by now.
Ripped away from behind, Taylor with a steal. Chicago on a 7-0 run to make it 10 straight. Sydney Taylor. The Sky playing from behind. Miles carves inside, count it, and a foul. Telling y'all to, at least for the moment, be quiet.
I mean, it's all defensive ball pressure, the push-up, the pressure, the right personnel on the floor defensively for Tyler Marsh, and it has allowed them to get stops to get to that 10-0 run.
But Olivia Miles with a bit of a silencer and gets three the old-fashioned way. Amongst rookies, she's second in the league in scoring, leads all rookies in assists at over 5.5 per game. 9-point lead for the Lynx. Taylor, who just hit a three. No basket. Foul before the shot. Contact on the screen.
Right now, Chicago putting Olivia Miles in as many ball screens as they can. That basket does not count. Foul before the shot.
Miles collided on the screen to pick up her second foul before the action of the shot. And then Chicago turns it over on the inbounds. Miles to the rack. Tough layup. It has something to say. Taylor, her rookie, is bumped. And she will head to the line.
Really nice job by Miles. Clutch buckets back to back, just when the crowd was really getting involved. Sydney Taylor, terrific off the bench in the second half.
And at the line, hits the first. Take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. A lot of Liberty, Dallas, New York tomorrow, NBC. And then Monday, Portland at New York. That on Peacock and NBCSN. And then you go to Wednesday's USA doubleheader. Also features New York. They're hosting Phoenix, Atlanta, Minnesota to follow on the USA doubleheader. For more of these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Loose ball out of bounds will stay on this end. Minnesota by 10. About 4.5, I think that 5.5 seconds separating the two clocks.
In a quiet game for Kayla McBride, but for Minnesota to win, I believe that she's going to hit some shots here late.
Yo-yos. McBride hounded by Jaquez. Just 1 for 6 in this game. Miles Miles, shot clock at 2, has to recognize, step back, Cloud got a piece, and a shot clock violation.
You just need 1 or 2 back, and if you're looking for an emotional leader of this Chicago team, it would be Natasha Cloud. Remember what Tyler Marsh said to AJ at halftime, intensity and intentionality. We've seen that here in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, Taylor thought she had that right before the horn. Instead, it skips off the rim.
Pressure of Elizabeth Williams in the matchup with Howard, who only had 2 points in the 3rd quarter. And then the basic ball pressure of the perimeter. And the ability to get to the second side, make shots, and Sydney Taylor, who has played well off the bench as well.
The defensive reinforcements, but Cloud that time with a single track mindset to get to the rim. And Leatu King with the foul, her 3rd. Tyler Marsh. Last season, it's a lot went against Chicago in his first year, 10-34. One of the 3 of their first 5 to begin this season. Again, you think about the injuries that this team has, what it could be when everybody gets healthy, including Courtney Vandersloot, Dejanay Carrington. Of course, they have Rakia Jackson's injury, unfortunate, last Sunday, her torn ACL against Minnesota, so she's out for the year. Off, a high pass received by Caldwell, although she misses the layup. Need to track Taylor 3-on-3 the other way. Turns away with a no look. Crowd likes it. Step back, Banham for 3. Oh, that would have brought the house down. Inside Miles, that time can't draw the whistle, and Banham in the right place. The lead for the Lynx is as large as 16. This 3 by Taylor, no, but she's fouled. Looked like the ankle rolled on Caldwell's closeout.
That'll be 3 free throws. In this league, you get to the 4th quarter, and it is a 3-possession, 2-possession game. If you take a look at that, they might look at this for a reckless closeout. You get to this point, it's situations, right? You have to execute. There cannot be game slippage. You have to be tight with all your details. Yeah,
reckless closeout, it would be a flagrant 1, so that's 3 free throws and the ball. And talk about a pivot point here at the start of the 4th quarter. You have a chance to pull within 5 and then get the ball.
I mean, mark it down, right? This is one that you circle right now and write it down. It was a 10-point Minnesota 4th quarter lead to start the quarter.
What do you see there?
It's not going to take long, because I do think that the officials recognize it quickly.
It's almost textbook of what they tell you to avoid. Yeah, that's the indication we got. They upgraded it to a flagrant 1 for the reckless closeout.
Yeah, Ryan Sassano, thank you for coming over and giving us the information. No question about it. Officials quick to make this decision.
Well, that's exactly what they say. From one point to another, and you get your foot underneath the landing space of a shooter. Apologize for the mic not being able to hear it on that side, but we conveyed it to you exactly what it is. A flagrant 1 upgraded, so it is 3 free throws coming up for Taylor. She hits the first of 3, and then Chicago keeps possession. We'll have a chance to cut this to a 1-possession game. 1 more free throw to come. Two of 3 for Taylor. Coach Reeves' team had a lead as large as 16 points. Had it rolling in the 3rd quarter before Chicago finally found some stops in limiting Howard after her 22-point first half. Cloud against Miles. The vet, the first step on the rookie. The hoop and the arm, and a chance to make it a 1-possession game at the line.
Tyler Marsh calls the clear out, and they are hunting this matchup. It can be all about rhythm and free-flowing offense, but when it gets to crunch time and you know you have a matchup you can win, you put the vet against the rookie.
Third foul of Miles. Can't complete the three-point play, but it's the closest this game has been since the score was 26-22. Then Williams in at the center position, defending this action with Howard. Coffee, deep seal. Shot clock down to 3. Miles has to create one-legged three. Did not draw a rim. That's a shot clock violation.
Icing ball screens. Rotating to the nail. High hands on the recovery. The fundamentals of that defensive possession outstanding by Chicago.
That was a coaching clinic right there. Lynx without a point here in this fourth. Cloud examines. Jaquez, a rainbow. Yeah, Coffee chases the rebound.
Jaquez hit a big three in the fourth quarter against Minnesota in the first matchup. And then Courtney Williams. Smooth.
She's been doing that for over a decade in the league.
And I'm just telling you, every night's going to be like this in the league. Every night, the league and the talent is so good.
You see the parody on a night-in, night-out basis. Side step three. Sydney Taylor is ignited in this second half for Chicago. It is down to a one-possession game with 7:40 to play. Miles low pass deflected, and they say kick.
In that trophy case, she's on her way again.
Top 2 scorers in the league in the early going, by the way. Wilson and Plum going head-to-head.
You gotta love it, love it, love it. You know what, I say this, the lens that I'm watching the W through in its 30th year is that we have, they've got counters and they've got the ability to score offensively, and that's what's so exciting about the WNBA.
Back-to-back fouls on Jaquez, her third. Coffee, hard fall. Ouch.
There was a time when there were 2 or 3 players that could, on each team, and when you have 4 and 5 that can do what I'm saying, make the defense wrong. Now you got a championship caliber club. There was a time when there were 2 or 3 players that could, on each team, and when you have 4 and 5 that can do what I'm saying, make the defense wrong. Now you got a championship caliber club.
We're seeing defenses having a hard time throughout the league. You just look at scores on a night-in, night-out basis. High-scoring games.
And Doug Feinberg from the AP wrote a great story about how home courts are less than 30% in a winning percentage early in the season. So that to me speaks to guard play, Chris. It's guards.
Well, Debbie, the third foul on this defensive possession for Chicago here. First couple of weeks of the season. Howard has been slow to get going here in this second half.
Elizabeth Williams.
She's made a difference. Only 2 points in the half.
Yeah, they are hunting that Miles matchup. That time she does a good job of defending, forcing a tougher shot.
Williams had it poked.
If you're watching the NBA playoffs right now, you're seeing the same thing happening with Jalen Brunson against the Cavs.
You find the matchup you like and you isolate relentlessly. Shot clock at 3. McBride catches, shoots. She's been doing that throughout her 13-year career. Registers another 3.
Can't keep a good player down.
Her first long ball of this contest. Now 1 for 3. Cloud, the answer, no. And Miles, right place, right time for the rebound. Not afraid to push, but her team up 6 with just over 6. The rookie directs. Wants it back. You have Howard defended by Skylar Diggins. They switch the matchup off the screen and a whistle. Taylor comes up too aggressively and another Chicago foul.
Chicago trailed by as much as 16, and they have done a great job getting back in it. And Elizabeth Williams who played most of the second half. Cardoso getting back in it, only playing 4 minutes so far in the second half, and McBride, come on, love it.
She went
Textbook.
3 quarters without a three.
I told you it was not. This game would not be decided without Kayla McBride.
As he hits 2 threes here in this fourth. Answer from Taylor pops out, and McBride rebounds. So as you highlighted in this second half, the big story has been Williams playing a large majority of the center minutes against Howard. Well, here it is Cardoso back in defending Howard. Miles going right at it. They cut it off. Williams mid-range again. Too much. Cloud boxes out. Howard tangled up as well.
Yeah, I
they're
thought
running at Cloud.
Yeah, she was face guarding on the box out. And when you're a smaller player against a bigger player, a lot of times you see that. She must have pushed off from our angle we could not see.
Cloud's third, and that is the 5th team foul against Chicago. So Minnesota will be shooting the rest of the way. "22 points in the first half for Natasha Howard. That is just her 3rd in the second half. Started all 44 games last year with the Fever.
Well, don't be surprised to see Cheryl Reeve go right back to Howard next time down the floor.
Her 26 ties a season high. Cardoso, and the foul, the bump on the way to the bucket. Howard in the way.
Neither team has any more fouls to give.
It's a key foul there too. That is Howard's 4th. As we are reaching crunch time with just over 5 left.
Cheryl Reeve has done a great job managing foul trouble on her front line all game. It was Coffey who picked up 2 quick ones, then Hoff got 3. And Leah Tu King did an excellent job in the first half as well, defending inside.
Those free throws ended what was a 8-0 run for Minnesota to bounce their lead back. First cut to a 1-possession game. McBride's 3 is a big part of it. Miles, whistle, and an offensive foul. If that's on Howard, that would be her 5th. So she's right now near the ceiling. 1 more, and she's done. And you can see Coach Reeve calling for a timeout, wanting to review that. Yeah, it's just. So she has 5. 1 more and she's done. No more challenges for Minnesota. Skyler is bumped in the lane, but the offensive rebound, Cardoso cleans it up. Diggins wanted a foul, did not get it. It's a 7-point game.
Boomerang right back on a mismatch.
On the other side of the mismatch is Howard down low, defended by Taylor. Layup, no. Miles retrieves. Ball did not draw iron, but then there's the reach in. It's on Diggins. And with
pressure of Elizabeth.
The Sky in the penalty, more free throws coming up for the Lynx. 3rd on Skylar Diggins.
I think Tyler Marsh is asking. Olivia Miles shot it, but then she was the next person to touch it after she went out of bounds.
She does miss the first free throw. Yeah, one of those like self passes. Then she also went out of bounds.
See, like she's the next person to touch it. Oh, it was tipped.
So if it is tipped, sort of resets that possession game. There's a push off and an offensive foul.
All of a sudden, all these off the ball offensive, when their detail has to be perfect.
3rd round coverage of the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson is next on CBS, available now on CBSSports.com/watchgolf. The CBS Sports app and on Golf Channel. We'll get you out there as soon as this one is over. Still 4:10 left. Lynx lead by 8 with possession. King step inside the line. Sky need to get something going. Get it quickly. Cloud whips, opposite corner. Catch and shoot was blocked. What a reach. With the extended arm of Coffey to knock it away.
And this is where you have the veteran 2-point guard system on the floor with Williams and Miles. You have two really good decision makers late game.
Here is Miles, puts the defender in jail, then uses the ball fake to set up King opposite lane. And another foul called on Chicago. And a couple of more free throws coming up for the Lynx.
This is what you call a closeout on the three-point shooter. Coffee to the deep corner. And it ignites that transition game for Minnesota. I love a shot blocker that keeps it in play.
Cardoso's fourth foul. King can't connect, leaving a couple at the line on the Lynx. But yeah, what an incredible defensive effort to get a Paul on that one. Deep in the corner. Two missed free throws from King. Cardoso wants it. Size mismatch, Diggins. Whips. Depositing two is Stevens. Down to 6.
Good vision. Good patience and poise by Diggins.
Minnesota's controlled this game most of the way. If you're just joining us, they've led by as many as 16. Deflected in the paint. The number 2 pick in the draft, Olivia Miles. No whistle there. Late shot clock, it expires. And Chicago locks all windows and doors. Sky possession with under 3 left.
Natasha Cloud busted up the first and the second option on that play because it was a ghost action for McBride and then a curl. And it took both those options away. Her defensive on-ball pressure, or excuse me, off-the-ball pressure on McBride.
21 turnovers, Minnesota. Stevens. McBride, a key rebound. Mentioned the ball handlers, creators in crunch time. Williams, one of them with a blinding crossover. You can't contain Courtney Williams. And then a steal in the backcourt. Williams defense late in the 4th.
Courtney Williams so good at rejecting that screen.
Miles, another pass knocked away and stolen. 22 turnovers for the Lynx. Cardoso inside, the layup goes.
Got to get a stop here.
The turnover category, the one thing that is...
Got to get a stop here.
The turnover category, the one thing that is looming the Lynx.
Diggins face guarding Courtney Williams.
McBride races to the rim and gets the right roll. Immediate timeout called by Chicago.
What a great cut.
13 points.
That's the way McBride is. She's like 1-2.
Her shot is smooth, like the coffee coming up at her upcoming 1120 coffee shop over in Charlotte.
11:22, right? Is that what she said? 11:12, 11:22 coffee. Can't wait to see it in Charlotte.
No doubt. I'll be stopping by soon. Turnover, or a missed shot right out of the stop action off the Chicago timeout. That was a key possession. Now 100 seconds left. Minnesota up 8, but another giveaway. That time a wide Williams pass. Taylor shovels, rejected. Wow, climbing the ladder to knock it away. Coffee again. Stunning defensive plays down the stretch. 2 big blocks to keep the Lynx in control. Sets the screen. Williams rises. Cardoso above everybody. Football pass ahead. It's tipped and incomplete and eventually taken away.
She thought about it, and I'm sure Natasha Cloud wants that one back.
Just a second too late. Lynx looking for the dagger. Less than a minute left. Up 8. Shot clock down to 5. Williams. Bucket!
That's the luxury of a Courtney Williams in a late clock. Can get her own. Doesn't want a screen. Don't bring it.
Isolation, she has 17. And then boards that one with about 14 seconds separating the 2 clocks. Minnesota up 10 and Courtney Williams shutting the door.
Nia Coffey with 2 huge defensive plays late.
Shot clock at 1. Coffee won't get this one off in time with just 13 left. But Minnesota, after dropping that game on Sunday to Chicago, can get a bit of revenge, although these teams will face each other for the 3rd time in 13 days coming up on May 29th. So all the season meetings between these teams condensed into 2 weeks.
What a game. Had a little bit of everything in this one. And once Chicago gets healthy, they will be dangerous. So Minnesota rolling.
It was Natasha Howard